Greetings and salutations to our respected lecturer, Sir Razizi bin Tarmuji. My name is Rayon, and today we would like to present our group assignment, which is the concept of Al-Ijarah Thumma Al-Bay and its applications on vehicle financing. Without further ado, I would like to pass these sessions to the next presenter, which is Mary Eliana Joel. Mary, go ahead.
Greetings and salutation. My name is Mary Elena Joel from BA119, class CTU351A2. Now we will start with the introduction of the concept of Al-Ijarah Thumma Al-Bay and its application on vehicle financing. Vehicle is what people use it to perform their daily responsibilities and activities. In owning a car, people will apply for car financing and their choice will be either conventional hire purchase or Islamic hire purchase from banking institution. Therefore, Al-Ijarah Thumma Al-Bay or Aitab is an automatic financing plan that complies with Sharia principle. In Islamic finance, Aitab is a basic renting for the renting period of time and choice for the renters to buy the property toward the finish of the renting period of time through an agreement or buy. This concept can be met through Islamic financial institutions such as making Ijarah agreement and lease contract for a certain period, subsequently signing a contract when the lease expires. This concept, it is not for Muslim customer only, but non-Muslim also can use this Islamic financing plan even though it is related to Sharia principle. The condition in Al-Ijarah Thumma Al-Bay, Aitab, is not credit, rather the act of using. The ownership is not transferred to the hirer until all installments are paid. Next, the hirer entitled to bring the resources return and entitled to an early settlement or early settlement of the hiring action. ITAP has to fulfill all conditions of a valid contract stipulated by Sharia. This agreement will have the common agreement, obligation, and advantage of two sides should be clearly expressed. The understanding will be inside the agreed period and again the set cost. Specifically, the idea of Aitab should follow the two standards of rent, Ijarah, and an agreement of offer, Al-Bay, with condition determined on the contracting party, the offer and acceptance, consideration, and the topic agreement.
Okay, next, let's move into the research objective. So basically, for the research objective, we only have two research objective, which the first one, we want to evaluate the UITM Sabah student understanding on the ITAP financing. Secondly, we want to determine the level of knowledge about ITAP financing among the UITM Sabah student.
Greetings and salutation. My name is JECCY, and the next part that I will be presented is literature review. In 1983, Malaysia became the first country to establish Islamic banking. Between that year and 1994, several Islamic goods were created including Ijarah facilities. However, the full potential of Islamic hire buy has yet to be released. As a result, Al-Ijarah Thumma Al-Bay or Al-Ijarah Al-Muntahiyah Bitablik, a type of Islamic hire purchase, has developed from Ijarah IMBT. In Malaysia, the term Al-Ijarah Thumma Al-Bay refers to an purchase of a lease in Islam agreement which is Aitab. The only distinction between them is that Aitab and IMBT is the fact that in one, legal ownership of the asset is given through a selling contract to the lessee at the conclusion of the term, whereas in the second, it is given to the lessee as present, which like token price, equal pricing, or progressive transfer, and all possible options. The validity of the implementation of Aitab in 1985 has been questioned. Some Islamic scholars question whether the cost of buying a rented asset is the actual price because it reflects the value of the asset as well as market condition. They further argue that Aitab is akin to a restricted purchase, where the owner is required to transfer the leased asset to the tenant regardless of circumstances. In response, Malaysian Sharia experts said that the structure of Aitab, based on the theory of sale and purchase, which is based on mutual agreement between owners and tenants. Aitab has gone through many stages of development. It was originally provided in 1983 by Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, Malaysia's first Islamic bank. Traditional banks that have implemented the Islamic bank scheme soon followed the suit. Aitab's activities in Malaysia are overseen by the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumerism, which has sole responsibility over hire purchase enterprises, and the Ministry of Transport, which is in charge of vehicle manufacture and license clearance. The next part is going to be presented by RIBKA, and she will be explaining a short summarizes about the phases of Aitab operation.
Hello, I am RIBKA and I'm continuing about the development of Aitab. Ijarah become one airlines financing facilities and Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad introduced Aitab on 1983 until 1994. Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad was the key player in Islamic banking. Second is Aitab was extended to three anchor bank, Maybank, Bank Rakyat and Bank Bumiputera Malaysia Berhad. And Aitab was expanded to finance companies and cooperative societies on 1994. Islamic banking scheme was introduced and operations of Aitab was expanded. The lastly is Aitab adopted by government and draft of Muamalah Hires Purchase Bill on 2000. The bill was passed to Attorney General Chambers for examination.
Moving on into the research methodology. So the research methodology, basically it is refer to a medium which it is being used by a researcher to conduct their study. Moreover, it also included such an approach such a qualitative analysis or quantitative analysis. Earlier, I have talked about the research methodology. This to give an overview. Okay, now let's move into the research design. As we can see in the slide here, the research design that we use in to approach something or to measure something is we use a qualitative approach in order to achieve our objective. Moving on into the data sources. So basically, the data sources, it is referred to a data that been obtained by the researcher during the course of investigations. And for the source of data that we have obtained or acquiring is basically was derived from the Google Form survey that been distributed towards to the respondent. And finally, let's move into the data collections method. After we have successfully creating the Google Form survey, then after that, the link was distributed to the two type of media social, which the first in WhatsApp. In WhatsApp, we have distribute the link into the group, into the specific group that have the targeted respondent, and also in our WhatsApp status. And secondly, into Telegram. For the Telegram, we have posted the link into the specific group also. Okay, next, let's moving on into the finding and discussions. So in this section, we will be discuss about the finding for sections A and section B, which was derived from the Google Form survey. As we can see here at this slide, for the questions 1, it is about the gender. And the result here shown that most of the respondent who respond to the survey is a male respondent. Moving on into the questions 2, which it is age of the respondent. And it's shown that most of the respondent who fill up the survey is at the age of 18 to 20 years old. For the questions 3, it is about the level educations. The result here shown that the higher frequency was diploma. Then it can be said that most of the respondents who fill the survey, the level educations is at the diploma level. And finally, let's move into the questions 4, which it is about the faculties. The result here shown that for the accountancy faculty, it is only consisted of 13 respondents. For the agrotechnology faculty, it is only consisted of 0 respondents, followed by applied science faculty. It only had 1 respondent. And next, for the hotel and tourism management, it is only consisted of 3 respondents, followed by the administrative science and policy study, which these two faculty have the same respondent, which 3 respondents. However, as we can see here, the frequency of business and management is higher comparing to the other, which it is consisted of 30 respondents. Therefore, it can be concluded that most of the respondents who fill the survey is from the business and management faculty. Next, let's move into the finding and discussions for the sections B. In these sections, all the answer that been distributed to the respondent is based on the objective that we need to achieve. So as we can see here at the slide, the questions 1 is about parties that involved in Aitab financing. And the result here shown that the higher frequency was true, which it is consisted of 48 response. And therefore, it can be concluded that most of the respondent is able to identify the parties that involved in Aitab financing. For the questions 2, it is talk about usually Aitab financing is applied in vehicle financing. And the results shown that the higher frequency was true, which it is consisted of 45 response. Therefore, it can be concluded that a majority of the respondent is very familiar with the product. However, the remaining respondent might do not know very well with the product. Maybe this is because of they did not have the experience toward the product. Moving on to question 3, which it is about under the contract of Aitab financing, an interest or known as RIBA may be charged if the lessee default in payment or late in payment. And the result here shown that the higher frequency was false, which it is consisted of 37 response. Therefore, it can be concluded that majority of the respondent, they are well known about this Aitab financings. And the remaining of respondent might did not know how to differentiate between the conventional banking and the Islamic banking product. Next, for the questions 4, it is about the conditions in Aitab financing that must be fulfilled by the lessor. The first condition, which it is the lessor must not declare bankrupt, and second, the lessor must not declare prodigals. And the result here shown that the higher frequency was true, which it is consists of 45 response. And it can be concluded that majority of the respondent is really understand towards the conditions in Aitab financing. However, the remaining respondent might do not know very well. This is because maybe they did not have the experience, or they never heard towards the conditions in Aitab financing. For the questions 5, it is talk about under the contract of Aitab financing, the permissible form of lease asset consists of tangible asset and exclude the intangible asset. So based on the result here, it's shown that the higher frequency was false, which it is consists of 28 response. It can be concluded that majority of the respondent are most likely confusing toward the Ijarah and Aitab financing. as we know that Al-Ijarah, it is consisted of first tangible asset such as land, um, a machinery, or any kind of property. Second, the intangible assets such as trademark and logo. So all this kind of type of asset is included in Al-Ijarah. However, when we talk about Al-Ijarah Thumma Al-Bay, it is only focusing on the vehicle financing. Therefore, it can be concluded that majority of the respondent is most likely confusing toward the Al-Ijarah and Aitab financing. We moving on into the question 6, which it is about a contract. So in order for the contract in Aitab financings to be bound between the lessor and the lessee, it must have an ijab, which it is referred to offer, and also kabul, which it is referred to acceptance, and it must consistent with the Sharia law. And the result here shown that the higher frequency was true, which it is consists of 47 response. Therefore, it can be concluded that majority of the respondent is well aware with the contract. And finally, the question 7. In these questions, we want to know a way the respondent get the informations about the Aitab financings. So based on the result that been shown here, the higher frequency was from a friends, which it is consisted of 26 response. Therefore, it can be concluded that most of the respondent acquire the informations regarding to the Aitab financing is must from their friend. Next, moving on into the finding summary. Through the analysis that have been done in section B, it has give us the problem, which the first problem is the student must like confusing between Al-Ijarah and the Aitab financing. Secondly, the level of knowledge among the student are average. It can be said that the level of knowledge among the student is not that bad, and also it is not that excellent. This can be taken into the considerations of the factor that some student might do not take this course in their syllabus, such the hotel and tourism management, the applied science. So it can be said that affecting their level of knowledge towards the Aitab financing. And the student can be advised first to read and find informations related to Aitab financing. For instance, they can do some research related to the Al-Ijarah and the Aitab financings in the credible sources such Bank Negara Malaysia or any article and journal that related to the topic. Secondly, they can ask their respective lecturer if they may have taken the course of CTU351. By doing this, it can or it able to enhance the knowledge of the student, and in the future it able to avoid the student in confusing.
In conclusion, I would like to tell you what we have learned from this research. First, a methodology. According to Webster 1984, a methodology is crucial for researchers since it is a tool for researchers to do research. It is a process or strategy to carry out or accomplish anything. Next, the goal of this research or objective of our research has been met. This is because all of the information connected to the study goal have been obtained, and this may be linked to an issue that emerged among students at UITM Sabah, as described in the summary of findings. As can be seen in the result of the survey, the majority of students have a basic comprehension of Aitab. Finally, why should we learn about Islamic banking? This is because we know that understanding Islamic banking provides us several benefits, such as in Ijarah, Thumma, or better known as Aitab, there are benefits not only for the customer but also for the seller. For example, if we are a buyer and we're interested in purchasing a home or office asset, but the asset have damage or scratches, and we have the right to return it to the owner. Meanwhile, if we are the seller, we have the option to refusing to provide a goods or asset to the buyer until all payments are paid in full. In Islamic banking studies, we can learn about a slew of other benefits. That is why we must study Islamic finance, because it provides us many benefits. That's all from me, and I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Thank you.